So, it's been a while. It has been a long time since I last checked in. I last checked in May, I think. And then, the summer happened. And then autumn happened. And now it is the end of January. So, a lot of time has passed. Without going into too much detail, essentially I've been having some health problems. I've been diagnosed with a chronic condition. I don't want to go too much into it, but that has taken up a surprisingly large portion of my mental energy, and sort of pairing that with, just work, life, family, etc. has been hard. So that's fun, but I've got a diagnosis, I've got a treatment plan, and hopefully, fingers crossed, things will be getting better and I should be feeling less tired all the time, because one of the problems that I've been having is fatigue. It's been a really, really big thing that's been affecting me, and it has massively put a pause on any crafting activities in general, because actually I've just been so tired, and just getting the motivation to even start anything has been hard. So that is it. But I'll give you a brief update on what I have done since last time I checked in, which over the summer I made this wonderful pair of shorts. I made them before we went on holiday in June, and then I did not take them with me, which is a big shame. Now, part of the reason is because they don't fit very well. Something I don't think I made I did the crotch line very well. So these ones I've copied off a pair of shorts I already own, and I'm actually, in general, very happy with them. I think some of the sewing could be a little bit better, and there's still a bunch of crumbs. Yeah, I think some of the stitching could be a little bit better. Fix the pocket, because all shorts should have pockets, and these have got lovely patch pockets at the back. They've also got inset pockets here with proper sized pocket bags. Look at that. Put my whole hand in it. It's very good, but these have a problem, and the problem is that around the crotch is not long enough. And the problem with them not being long enough is that I get a bit of a hugging bum situation, which is less than desirable. And I think part of that is due to the fact that I've put on some weight since I wore those shorts a lot, but also I think I've messed up the crotch slightly. So one of the things that I did when I was copying it is, I think you can sort of see that there's this curve that comes in and points out forward, right? And I think on the front, so this is the front, you can see it comes all the way down to here. And on the back, it comes all the way, it comes down here, all the way there, curves around the end and onto the front. And basically, this should be a little bit further up. And the way I can tell that is because, one, it hugs my bum a bit. And also, when I'm wearing it, there's a bit too much fabric in the crotch. So I'm wearing them, and it almost feels like there's too much at the front here, and then not enough at the back here, which means that this seam going up the middle is too far back. So I've had this on my to fix pile basically since about June, because I thought, I might wear it over the summer anyway, because it's a really cute, they're really cute shorts. Look at them. They've got this kind of, it was 4 fat quarters, and you've got birds, bees, butterflies, and then this kind of mix of everything here. And it's kind of, I've got 4 fat quarters, so bees and butterflies here, and sort of everything and birds here, and then it goes white, blue, white, blue, and then the waistband is the opposite, along with the pockets. And I'm really happy because I got all of this out of 4 fat quarters, and I used a little bit of supplementary fabric, which is just an old bed sheet that had rips in, and I used that as a lining for the waistband because it's got elastic in it, and for the pocket bags. So those have got that. I mean, in general, I'm really happy with it, and I'm very happy. This is the first time I've actually done pockets like this, and I just sort of worked it out and made them, and I'm very happy with them. But I don't really like the garment because it doesn't fit very well. So I think I'm going to, what I want to do is I want to move this seam, and I can just move it forward by about, an inch, a couple of centimetres, that, unpick it, move it forward about an inch, and then add in maybe 1.5 inches of fabric. So I'm taking out, no, I need to put in a bit more than that because I'm taking out 1 inch. If I'm moving it back, then I'm taking out 1 inch, so I need to put at least 2 inches in to make it that much longer. I think I have updated this already on the pattern when I realised that these lengths were in the wrong place. So I've already made those adjustments to the pattern that I made, so that if I make this again, I shouldn't get this problem. But at the same time, there's part of me that wonders whether one of the problems is that this is also just a little bit too short. So this distance here, so the back piece doesn't actually, it's not curved, or it's not, this back seam here, it's curved, right? But it's not that curved. So I'm wondering whether this should be slightly longer. So it should be slightly more whoop. And whether that would help. Because I know that like denim jeans and things like that have a lot more, that back seam that connects between the butt cheeks are very curved. So it's a sort of, I don't know, I have very mixed feelings about this. That and something that really bothers me and I need to go back in and fix is that when I did the hem, I did it very close, and I actually did it about halfway between this, which means that this hem has a tendency to fall down. So either I just need to run another second row of stitching around here, closer to this bit so that this doesn't fold over and then becomes visible because it's right on the edge, or I could just go around and hand stitch that down, which I don't mind doing a little bit of hand stitching. So that was one of the first things I made. The next thing I made was a pair of dungarees for my nephew. I have given it to him. I don't have it to show you, but I hopefully, if I can get it to work, we'll put a picture here. This is what the fabric was, this is just quilting cotton that I bought from Hobbycraft. Absolutely loved this green. Now, I've made a handful of dungarees for babies. I made my son a pair of dungarees. I made my nephew a pair of dungarees. I made another nephew a pair of dungarees. So, yeah, this is my third. Well, technically it's my fourth because I made 2 for my son. One was sort of like a workable mock-up. And then the second one was like the actual ones, which I still made a mistake on. But they turned out fine, so, you live. But yeah, so this is the fabric that I made it out of. It's this lovely, beautiful green fabric, and I'm so happy with it. And I'm really happy with the dungarees, how they made up. It's got a cute little pocket on the front, and it's got 2 buttons on the straps. So when he gets a bit taller, the straps can expand and be longer, or when he's still little, he can have them tighter. And because I know that a few, bought dungarees that I had that feature, and I was really happy, and it's really useful to like make something fit really well. So I included that into that. It was lined in this, it's an old bed sheet that was falling, that had a big rip in it. But I mean, it's a lovely fabric, so I used that to line it, so it's fully enclosed. This is the buttonhole test. So you can see that I used this lighter green as a sort of semi-contrast colour thing. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but do you know you have those cursed projects? As in the ones that just, it doesn't matter what you do, the projects just never seem to work out. That was this project. Just everything I did, I had to redo twice. I had to try again. I had to unpick stuff. I messed up the inside out of doing the lining and doing the outer bit. I messed that up. So I had to completely redo it again. It was just everything. Everything that could have gone wrong on this project felt like it did. And while I was really, really happy with it, I was so glad to hand it to my brother and my sister-in-law so that I did not have to have it anymore, because I was just sick of it. Absolutely sick of this thing. The next thing I made was this little christening outfit for my son. Ta-da! And this little white jacket here, which has got poppers, so it does up, so it looks super cute. And honestly, this is one of my worst pieces of garment making. It's so bad. I made this about 2 days before christening, so there's the little top, and there are the trousers. I made this about 2 days before the christening, like serious speed sewing, because I just left it too late to make them. So basically, we had him christened, and I wanted, in my head, I'd always wanted to make him a little outfit. And we'd been meaning to get him christened for a while, and it just sort of never happened for one reason or another. And we finally got around to doing it, and I knew that I wanted to make an outfit for him. I wanted to use leftover fabric from my wedding dress. So I made my wedding dress. This is fabric that's left over from it. So this was the main body of the fabric. This was the main dress fabric. It's a polyester satin fabric. And then this is the lining of the fabric. And so this is, again, a polyester satin, but this is a lot more this is a lot more floppy, whereas this has got a bit more rigidity. So I used this one for the trousers, and it's got a little elastic in the back. I did not cut the elastic short enough. This elastic definitely should have been cut shorter. It was fine initially, and then once we took it off and really stretched that elastic out and then put it back on, the trousers started falling down. It was very annoying. It was fine on the day, and I'm very happy with it. But yeah, this is like my worst piece of sewing I've ever done. And then I paired it with aggressively hand sewing all of the seams down. So on the inside, every single seam is hand felled. All of the hems and cuffs, I hand sewed all of those down. The only ones I didn't bother was the salvage edges, because, you know, they're the salvage, so why bother? And yeah, everything I hand sewed down. And yeah, I took so much care hand sewing down all of the edges apart from the salvage ones. But the sewing is so slapdash. I got it done, yes, I was finishing it off in the morning. And gosh, it looked so cute in it. I don't think I've actually got, I might have a photo. If I find a photo, I'll put it in here, and so that you can have a look of him wearing it. But yeah, and it was nice because this has got a little bit of stretch to it, a little bit of give, whereas these ones don't. So it made sense to be able to have a shirt with a little bit of give, because it meant that the poppers didn't pop open every 30 seconds, which is exactly what would have happened otherwise. And then I put these studs on, and never do studs in a hurry, because you might not be able to see very well, but you can see all these markings, and how it's almost bruised around the press studs. Yeah, it's a lot more obvious in real life, but the studs did not agree with this fabric at all. I initially was going to have a button here as well. You can see that's where the studs went. in, and it just didn't take because this is 4 layers of fabric, I think. Also, this is really ambitious. I've never made a collar with a collar stand before. I don't know why. I was just like, oh, I must make a collar, like a proper shirt with a collar and a collar stand, and I've never made that before. I didn't even know quite how you're supposed to make it. So I think I've done it right, but I just sort of made it up and it seemed to work. I think it's a bit thick, so I think there was probably like a couple of layers that I should have trimmed away. I've got this sandwich between collar stand. I think what I should have done was stitch that down, trim that away, and then stitch the collar stand onto this, and it would have been about half the thickness. But why I decided to speed sew a collar that I've never made before and all of this, Lord knows. But this is vaguely based off a shirt that my son has. Yeah, some of the sewing isn't that great. You can see that it's kind of puckered here, and there's the odd tuck and whatever, and I kind of just didn't care that much, so I assumed that nobody would be looking that closely, and it turns out nobody was. Everyone just said, oh, isn't it lovely? Oh, you made it yourself. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, it's using the old wedding dress. Amazing. So sewing wise, I think that is it, and that was up until October, and then November, December was really busy with work, and I just didn't do any sewing. Yeah, I was busy with work and hospital stuff, and I was just knackered all the time, so I just didn't do anything. So, things I left you with, this Drops Melody cardigan thing that I'm just sort of winging. So this is the back. This is quite a small cardigan. I think it should stretch. I hope. I mean, it's not supposed to be like a big oversized cozy cardigan. It's supposed to be more like, you know, the one that I'm wearing, the type that doesn't really do up and you kind of leave it open, and it's kind of supposed to be open. And I'm not entirely certain I'm going to have enough yarn for the sleeves, so I'm in two minds whether I buy some more yarn, which I don't want to do because I don't knit very much and I don't want more yarn that I'm not going to use, or whether I just sort of knit both the sleeves 2 at a time and see if I can work out whether I can do that, and then sort of start at the sleeves and work up and see how far I can get with the amount of yarn I've got. So we'll see. So I finished that, and then I've started on one of the fronts, which looks really narrow. I mean, I'm just kind of winging this pattern, so I suspect it's going to turn out weird. And I'm writing it down just so that I can, you know, copy it onto the other side. But honestly, I'm sort of winging this pattern. The yarn is very cozy and soft, so I'm enjoying it. I don't like knitting with needles this large, but I don't like how slow knitting with smaller needles are, so I'm between a rock and a hard place on that one, but what can one do? It's sort of a knitting project I've been going on in the background with, but I have been crocheting, and I gently realised something. I don't think I actually like crochet. Like, I look at most crochet garments that other people have made, and I don't like them. I just don't like the pattern. I'm really not a fan of granny squares, and I appreciate that other people like them, and that's fine, but it's not for me. But I enjoy crocheting. I find crocheting a lot more relaxing, a lot less pressure, it works up a lot faster. I quite enjoy the process of crocheting. So I started just crocheting a triangle using treble lengths and just forming a triangle out using trebles. And after a while, I got this triangle and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'm almost near the end of the ball because I only had like one probably 100-gram acrylic yarn. This is probably Aran weight. I don't know. I don't have the band. I haven't had the band for a long time. I've been crocheting it with a 5.5mm hook. So I was just crocheting and crocheting and crocheting this triangle, and then I like wrapped it around my head, and because I sort of half wondered, oh, maybe I should turn it into a shawl Like, I thought, well, if I make a triangle, I can make it a shawl, and then if I'm gaming or if I'm working, I can sort of wrap it around my shoulders and keep myself cozy and warm and embrace the full granny chic. But instead, I was also kind of like, I was not that far from it being complete, and I was just like, this isn't that big. It's not that wide either. Basically, it was an equilateral triangle, so, you know, all the sides were the same length, which kind of meant that to wrap around my shoulders, it was like halfway down my butt, which is a bit long for a shawl. So I was like, oh, well, it's a bit like a headscarf. And I sort of wrapped it around my head and was just like, yeah, it's a headscarf. But then I still had, you know, a reasonable amount of yarn left, so I just kept adding extra couple of rows. And I wrapped it around my head and I went, you know what I could do? Is I could turn this into a ridiculous hat. Ta-da! Yep. This is an absolute ridiculous hat. So the reason that I was annoyed that I found that little ball of yarn is because this was everything. Literally, all that was left over from this was about that much yarn from various bits of trimming it off, or there was like a tiny amount, because this yarn was, I frogged those crocheted sort of bikini type tops. It was sort of, I was doing the straps and I didn't like how they were coming up, and I was just like, do I like this? So I frogged this yarn, and so I had a lot of little balls like this. And so I joined them all together, and I was just crocheting. Which is why I'm annoyed I found this little ball, because whereas this, I had 100% everything used up. Now I've got this tiny little ball that I don't know what to do with, because if it was smaller, I'd just throw it away, but it's a little bit of yarn. What am I going to do? With that? I don't know. I'll have to have like a scrap project at some point where I use up little bits of yarn. But anyway, the point is I have a very, very silly little hat that I have made. And it's very silly, and it's got these little braided, because this is the thing, I had a little bit of yarn left, and if I had known I had this much left, I would have added them into this braid to make these braids thicker. Because at the moment, they're quite thin braids. I wouldn't have minded having them a bit thicker, but I wanted 3 braids. So I've got one here, and one at the end here. And I mean, I could absolutely go back and add, depending on how much is here, what I might do, if I could be bothered, is go back and add some more length, or rather add some more thickness to these. Because these are, at the moment, they are 4-stranded braids, which I've not done for a while, and was a bit of experience because it took me a while to remember how to do them. So they look kind of pretty. But if I've got this left, I mean, this is definitely going to be enough to get probably, I mean, if I'm able to get 4 more strands, then it's up to 6, and then I can just do a normal 3 braid holding extra and make these chunkier, which is what I want, because this is more than how much is into these, so I could probably double these, which is kind of more likely what I want to do. So I might be able to use this up on this hat, but I'm annoyed that I found that. Anyway, this hat is very silly. It's also like bottle green. For some reason, I found cameras just don't do green properly. I don't know why it doesn't camera well. But that's what this colour is, and it's fabulous. And it's actually quite warm and cosy. It's a silly hat, and it gives me vaguely medieval Scandinavian vibes. And I love it. And I don't know why. But yeah, it used to be a triangle, and so I just crocheted it up. Whoop. And it is actually crocheted with double crochets. Oh no, I think they're slip stitches actually. Yeah, these are slip stitches. So I did slip stitches all the way around. I didn't even bother to use a tapestry needle because I don't have a tapestry needle. And yeah. And that I've just finished. And that was literally just me messing about, just wanting to use my fingers and keep my fingers busy. Well, I've not felt like I've had the energy to actually do any real crafting. That's sort of all I've made since last time. I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.